As senior officials from the U.S. and Iran head to Pakistan, the future of ceasefire talks still remains uncertain. We'll be live in Islamabad with the latest.
We hope progress will be made, and we hope that positive developments will come from this meeting.
Argentina says it's willing to resume negotiations with the UK over the Falkland Islands after reports suggested that Washington might reconsider its neutrality on the issue. Hezbollah calls the ceasefire extension between Israel and Lebanon meaningless as it continues to trade strikes with the Israeli military.
US negotiators are on their way to Pakistan for peace talks with Iran. Take a look at the papers. The Telegraph's leading on the leaked memo that suggests the US is proposing to back Argentine sovereignty of the Falkland Islands. The paper's headline says, Falklands tell bully Trump to back off.
In the Daily Mail, it says the king is flying into a storm as the row over the Falkland Islands comes just days before his trip to the US.
President Donald Trump cancels his envoy's trip to Islamabad for peace talks with Iran as Iran's foreign minister flies out of Pakistan. Fragile ceasefire. Israeli strikes on southern Lebanon kill 4. Israel says it struck positions used by Hezbollah.
As the US-Iran conflict enters its 9th week, Iran's foreign minister and his delegation have now left Islamabad, where they held talks with the mediator Pakistan. A US delegation is set to travel to the Pakistani capital. There's been no word yet as to whether they've left. Carrie Davis has more from Islamabad.
A warm embrace, captured by the cameras, shared by officials, the sound removed. Pakistan's Prime Minister and Army Chief meeting Iran's Foreign Minister today. A small, choreographed glimpse of diplomatic moves. Much is still behind the curtain. 2 weeks ago, the US delegation led by Vice President J.D. Vance was in town. The White House said yesterday that Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner would be travelling to Islamabad to meet the Iranians again. But Iran said no meeting was planned. By this evening, their delegation was already gone, said Iranian state media. The question now, what happens next? Pakistan is in the middle of these negotiations. It hopes it can be a bridge to keep dialogue going. But as the two sides pull further apart, that is an increasingly difficult and stretching role. Islamabad's security increased overnight. The city has been in limbo for nearly a week, sealed off streets, and for now, the negotiating table empty too. Caroline Davis, BBC News, Islamabad.
Well, in a moment, we'll speak to Lena Sinjab, who's in Lebanon for us. But first to Peter Bowes, who's in Washington. Peter, is there any sign of what's happening with the US delegation? Will they go to Pakistan?
Well, there is still no confirmation that Steve Witkoff or Jared Kushner have indeed left Washington. J.D. Vance was to stay here in Washington to see how any talks developed. But given what we're hearing out of Pakistan now, any US delegation heading there must be in doubt. The White House was saying on Friday that they intended to send officials to see what the Iranians had to say, that the ball was very much in Tehran's court. But we're also hearing from the White House that they are not in any mood to make a quick deal. Pete Hegseth, the Defence Secretary, said that we have all the time in the world to make a deal, that they weren't anxious to do so. But that said, as far as the president is concerned, the importance of making a deal must be paramount, because this war is becoming increasingly unpopular with Americans.
And Lena, the ceasefire between Israel and the Iranian-backed group Hezbollah was extended recently, but is it holding?
This is a country shattered by the war and a fragile ceasefire since it was announced. Today is another deadly day during the ceasefire, with Israeli airstrikes hitting a motorcycle and a truck, killing at least 4 people in around the city, the town of Nabatea in the south. Yesterday, there were also more strikes, killing 6 people more. This is a country that is really waiting and hoping for a lasting ceasefire. Israel Israel says it's going to continue targeting Hezbollah to secure its northern border in accordance to what they say. They also have soldiers on the ground in almost 6 kilometers within the Lebanese border, something the Lebanese authorities are hoping that within these negotiations that are hopefully will be taking place in the coming 3 weeks, in accordance to what the US president announced, that the Israeli army will pull out and people would be able to return to their homes and towns that have been destroyed. Hezbollah is also saying they will retaliate when necessary, something that this between two sides, making the country in a state of a fragile ceasefire that could break at any time.